Hello and welcome everybody to your favorite My Daughter is Sleeping in the Next Room Premodern content. We are going to be trying out the deck that I've been thinking about for quite a bit and I have never been able to try out before, so I'm pretty excited about that one. It's a spin on a classic and let's see if it works out. So this deck was born out of the fact that I got my full playset of Intuition in paper. This was like 3 or 4 months ago. Since this happened, I've been trying to think about just how to use Intuition in Premodern. And this is one of the things that came to mind because obviously Intuition has a bunch of cool interactions, notably with accumulated knowledge, notably with flashback spells of different kinds. And another one of the key aspects of Intuition is also that it can find one card that you have 3 copies of. So you want to be playing it in decks that have cards that are particularly relevant. So we're talking about cards like Oath of Druids or cards such as Cataclysm. So when you can leverage Intuition to go find this one-offs or like this one-hit cards, that can turn around the game by themselves, then I feel like this card's power just goes up dramatically. I have played this card in Alluren quite a bit in the bug version, where I can get stuff, any creature alongside an earth, or just get survivals, or get Allurans, or like whatever else. So Intuition really works really well in that context. Also Cabal Therapy, notably, another card that works really well with Intuition, of course. So because of that, I've been thinking about this card a lot, and this is one of the most interesting shells that I was able to come up with. So this is my first draft, but I haven't really gotten to play any matches yet. So this is before I have tried anything, so I am basically throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall, and we are going to, after this matches, see what sticks and what doesn't. So again, like the core is to try to build around Intuition, but we are still obviously playing a deck that just works very well even when you don't do Intuition. So we have obviously the shell of the Cataclysm, Terravor, Oath of Druids deck that I have played in the past with cards like Sphere of Resistance and stuff like that. But now we are taking a different approach. We still have access to Treat of Village, this card on Wasteland, of course. These cards are key in basically any Oath of Druids deck, but we're taking it in a different angle, and you see that with the mana base. So the mana base is built in order to have a reasonable amount of blue sources so that we can actually cast our blue spells somewhat reliably. We also have a couple of mana leaks. This is sort of trying to be a catch-all. I'm playing 3 copies, but this is maybe a card that I should be playing in less copies, maybe a card I should be playing in maybe like 2, 1 split with the sideboard, or maybe I should be playing the full 4. I don't know yet. I'm just excited about the fact that I can hold up mana and I can represent like accumulated knowledge or Ray of Revelation, Source of Pleasures. Like this deck actually has a pretty reasonable amount of instant speed spells. So I think that it's going to work well. I really wanted to make sure that I have some amount of catch-all interaction because I didn't want this deck to be a dog to something like Replenish or stuff like that, which it has been in the past. So by having access to mana leaks, I feel like we are kind of offsetting that a little bit. I ended up choosing to go with 3 copies again so that we can find it with Intuition if we really need to. Like maybe if we're in a situation where only Replenish matters or whatever, then we can Intuition for 3 mana leaks on end step and we can hold up mana leak from there on, So that's kind of the play pattern that I was envisioning, but maybe it's not really worth it and you'd rather just Intuition for something else. Also, again, like this deck was built around Intuition, so I'm playing 3. I tried to play 4 copies, but I think that was 1 too many. Maybe 2 is the right number for this. I'm honestly not sure, but again, I'd rather be on the side of playing more in the beginning before I find out how good it actually is. The rest of the deck is, again, just a bunch of lands that help me cast my spells somewhat reliably and some Mox Diamonds in order to speed things up, and obviously Mox works really, really well alongside Terravor and Cataclysm. In the sideboard, we have an extra copy of Cataclysm for the matches where we want the full 4, stuff like Goblins, Elves, Enchantress, etc. Then we have Aura of Silence, an extra copy of Ray of Revelation. This card's stock has gone up very, very significantly. I think this card is absolutely fantastic right now. And all this is mostly for Parallax Tide specifically, but there's going to be other decks where this is great. Call of the Herd, and then I actually have 4 copies of Meddling Mage as a way to pivot in matchups where I want to be cutting all copies of Oath. So usually stuff like, I don't know, like Stasis or whatnot, I want to be cutting all of this Oath of Druids, and I also want to be cutting all Swords to Plowshares, and also sometimes I also want to be going into cut Cataclysm as well. So for those kind of matchups, Dreadnought as well, I can actually pivot into something different. I can bring in Aura of Silence, I can bring in some more threats. and a meddling mage as well to round things out. I also have a singleton Croson Reclamation. This is tech that I stole from Lan D Hoath, like that deck that's actually somewhat similar to this, but instead of trying to do mana leak AK nonsense, it's trying to just combo with replenish, so different angle. But the idea is that when you're playing against the mill deck, what you do is you Croson Wreck your win condition. In this case, we would Croson Wreck a Terravor, and then you have one turn to actually swing for lethal, which we should be able to do fairly easy when our entire graveyard is our entire deck is in our graveyard. So should be able to have like a 20/20 or even more Terravor at that point, and then we just kill them on a single swing after we make our last draw step. So this is against Devourer decks, Brain Freeze decks of all kinds. Then we also have Phyrexian Furnace, and notably I'm playing 3 Cups of Suranor. This one is specifically for burn and like goblins and stuff like that, but the idea is that, especially against burn, which is fairly popular on MTGO by the way, I wanted to make sure that I can intuition for Suranor, because I can do that main phase and immediately play the Suranor. So because of that interaction specifically, I wanted to have 3 copies. Maybe it's one too many, but I still wanted to try it out just to see if it was effective. So I really want to try to see if I can play against burn. So now we have actually 6 virtual copies of Suranor in our deck, which is probably pretty strong against the burn deck. But yeah, to round things out, obviously Phyrexian Furnace, another card that I think its stock has gone up pretty significantly. So yeah, that's going to be it for this deck tech. Hope that you enjoy it, and I'll see you for the very first round. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, all that good stuff. See you there. All right, everyone, here we are for round number 1. This hand is definitely something that we can draw. Let's mulligan. I don't know what I'm playing against, and that hand's a little bit too bad. This one's better, I'd argue. I think I'm going to bottom the Undiscovered Paradise. We're going to go turn 1 Treetop and send the turn back. We can Intuition on 2, which is pretty interesting, depending on what we're playing against. It's a basic Plains. I think I'm just going to play a Windswept Heath and the Mock, so I can Intuition Seal of Cleansing. Okay, so I guess we're going to be Intuition for AAA. Oh, we can't cast AK actually. That's awkward. Well, let's see what we can get. Maybe an Oath? I mean, we can just get AK anyway and just hope that we draw something. We already have Double Plow, so I'm not super concerned about my opponent having creatures, so I don't think I want to go for Oath. I think I'm just going to get AK anyway. Hope that I find the blue source. Pretty awkward for sure, but I'm going to be playing a longer game, I assume. I don't even think I want to kill that, to be honest. Cool. So let me play this out. We're going to bounce the Plains, and we're just going to go cast this AK, leaving white floating. We may want to plow that. I guess I do. We're kind of hanging out here. Mom, Savannah Lions. So I'm probably going to have to kill the Mother of Runes, and then we're going to take 2 from the Savannah Lions. I could have played the Mox Diamond, pitch one of my fetch lands, and like have Treetop Village to block, but I don't want to open myself up to Swords to Plowshares. Like currently Swords to Plowshares is doing nothing for my opponent. Silver Knight. It's definitely not looking great so far. Play a Forest and say go. Would love to at least have a second Treetop Village so we can hang back to block. So they have Swords to Plowshares. I think I do this anyway. I gain 3 life, and that's 1 less Swords to Plowshares from my Terravors. So I think we just go through that. That's fine. Take some damage, and then see what else my opponent have. Ramosian Sergeant. Man, that's cool. Ray of Revelation, not looking too hot here. Wasteland and go. Guess I should have definitely gotten that Oath with the Intuition, huh? Just Wasteland my land immediately. Sure. Take 5. Another Silver Knight. Cataclysm would be pretty hot here. Call of the Herd. Sure. It's not awful. That holds the fort pretty well. Oh man. Not super well. This is an attack for 7. Not a terrible draw. So best thing I can do is to play out Mox Diamond so I don't take a damage, I guess. I can delay the decision. Actually, I don't want to delay the decision. I just want to keep this and green. Yeah. Opponent keeps a Silver Knight. And now we just try to draw something. Let's see if we can do it. We got 3 turns. Gemstone Mine. Gets me closer to Call of the Herd. Disenchant is devastating there. Darker Waste. Okay, if we draw a runner land, I guess we can technically drop a Call of the Herd, and that could help us. Too bad that we only have 2 naturalized effects in the deck, which are dead against my opponent, and we drew both of them. It's pretty rough. Solitary Priest. Yeah, it's gonna be... We're gonna go on our own terms? Hell yeah. Alright, sideboarding. I want Call of the Herd. Don't think I want any of these other ones. I do want the extra Cataclysm. Mana leaks look kind of not great. but they're better than like Naturalize or stuff like that. Suranor is interesting. I feel like I want a singleton Ray of Revelation. Maybe cut a Mox Diamond. Yeah, this looks fine. Not super excited about Mana Leak, to be honest. That's the only card that I'm a little bit skeptical about. We are on the play. This hand looks pretty good, actually. So let's play Plains and pass the turn. Terravor is going to be at least somewhat reasonable. So now we get to kill the mom, pass the turn. Yeah, I think I still want to do that. I could have played, since I drew the second green source, I could have played the Terravor. Play the forest so I can speed up the Terravor. But I think I'm kind of interested in like drawing a little bit through my deck. Ooh, that's a good one. Let's play that one. So now that we have an Oath in play, it's kind of up to my opponent to see whether they can deal with this. Because if they can't, this is going to be a very easy game. Oh, they do have the answer. It's fine. Just going to hard cast this bad boys the hard way. And that's it. I'm out of basics. No more basics for me. I just drew every single one of them. Wasteland, you say? Sacred Ground. Sure. So let's go to combat. Swing for 3. They just take it. Here's another Terravor. I guess I'll play out the Wasteland. Maybe I should have held on to the Wasteland. The reason being I can try to like use it to set up a Mox. Oh, that's gonna be so good for me. It's gonna be a pretty clean time walk. Yep, we're living the life here. So they tap my dude. We swing for 3. And now they're gonna spend their entire turn to morph this guy. And we plow it. And then we just win. So I'm having my opponent gain 2 life if it means that I get to resolve Time Walk against them. So I think that's a pretty good deal. They need to have Cataclysm. They don't. Get out of here. So they're going to be taking 6 this turn. I'm going to hold on to these lands. I guess I could Wasteland myself. If I do that, these become 5/5s each, which puts my opponent in a 2-turn clock. Yeah, okay. I think that's worth it. So now they tap one of my dudes, and then they take 10. And they have exactly 1 turn to draw. I guess Cataclysm doesn't even do it anymore. They need Cataclysm plus Plow. Another one of those. That's Jump Blocker. Call of the Hurts, not bad. Got there. Just throwing a bunch of Terravors. Game number 3. I think the singleton Ray of Revelation is okay. And I think that's it. This is somewhat appealing to me as a one-off, but I don't think it's appealing enough. Especially now that my opponent's removal is also Source to Plowshare. So I think I'm just going to submit the same. I'm not a fan of Mana Leak while on the draw, however. Turn 1 Oath. If I draw any land, yeah, that seems a little bit too risky. Sounds better. Let's keep this one. Bottom the Mox. Send it back. Turn 1 Mother. Play a Treetop Village. Pass the turn. I could have played... I guess I could have played the Gemstone Mine so that I can play Mox, pitching Trebas. I can hold up Mana Leak for turn 2. But I don't think there's anything on turn 2 that I'm scared of. It's their turn 3 plays that are potentially annoying to me. Yeah, just gonna go Island Mox. Pitching the Gemstone Mine. Pass the turn. A little bit awkward that I kind of have to Mana Leak a disenchant here, but I think that's fine because now I get to play Call of the Herd. Then I can Intuition and I can start to pull away from there. It's actually quite a good draw, so I don't have to get behind on mana while doing this. And now we start to use elephants to go forward. Honor of the Pure, still not large enough. Decent pickup. Here's 3. Opponent takes it. They don't want to expose their Mother of Runes, makes sense. And we flashback Call of the Herd. Next turn, we can blow up the Honor of the Pure if that's something we're interested in doing. Otherwise, we can Intuition for maybe an AK or something. Second Honor of the Pure. Well, that's pretty clean. Here's a Wasteland. Still going to attack. Opponent takes it. Makes sense. Pass the turn. So the nice thing here is I don't need to do anything. I can just hang out. Opponent still doesn't attack. So I think I'm just going to Intuition for AK here. I could Intuition for Oath. But I think that we're in a spot where Intuition for AK is just better. Can help us pull ahead. Yeah. Let's start there. Let's draw 3. Cataclysm is interesting. So I guess I swing. Opponent can't double block. Because if they do... Because now that I drew Cataclysm, I kind of want to slow it down. So if they double block, I just kill whichever one they don't give protection to. So they actually cannot double block here. They can block and give protection to itself. But yeah, we're just going to chill. Now they're going to have double Mom up. Seal of Cleansing. Sure. Slightly annoying, but not the end of the world. Kind of good value now. So we untap. Cast Cataclysm. They should blow up the Mox first, then let the Cataclysm resolve. Yep. Tight play from my opponent. I mean, we're just ahead on cards by so much. I don't think much of what my opponent does here really matters. We're just way too far ahead at this point, I think. So I'm going to give pro green there because it's free to do. They give pro white. It's weird. But now this is like triple Stone Rain plus destroy a disenchant and a creature. Like this is a very good Cataclysm here. And I could blow this up, but do I even care to do that? I feel like there's more value in me playing a treetop so I can start pressuring harder. I'm just gonna send it back. They plow. That's it. No more cards for the opponent. That's a really good draw. That's honestly an unfair draw, if I'm being honest. That's a very unfair draw. Now we get to play Mox, pitch the Wasteland, cast an Oath of Druids, and we're holding up Ray of Revelation for this if we need it. So opponent needs to have a disenchant in hand, and now they drew the land, so they need to blow it up right now. Well, okay, there we go. So we play on. But now we can find a basic plains, Ray of Revelation, the Honor of the Pure, and now the treetop starts to clock. Never mind, we cast this thing. Much better. Obviously the best draw there would have been Terravor, but we can Cataclysm now. But I don't think that's enough value. I guess I should attack first. That was a mistake on my part. Because now I cannot have... Well, I guess I haven't played my land for turn, so this is a free attack. Trading these for any of my opponent's creatures is good, so that's just a free attack. You can just go land, plow, Savannah Lions. So if I Cataclysm now, I'm left with... Never mind. Yeah, that's game. So now they tap an elephant. We get to swing for 3. Also, we're at a casual 25 here. It's not like my opponent can top deck another Honor of the Pure / Crusade. Oh, I just realized I attacked. So now the Oath is out. It is kind of whatever. Oh, that's pretty good. Now we get to start serving with the treetop. That was definitely a mistake. I don't think it's that punishing of a mistake, honestly. Like, I think we're gonna win this game very easily from here anyway. So now my opponent is desperate enough or they're just willing to not play around Source of Blushers anymore. I feel like they were already pretty behind. They should have... They played around SDP for longer than they should have, in my opinion. Just gonna do the thing again. Probably gonna tap the treetop. Oh, plow the treetop. Sure, that's fine. Tap one of my dudes. I'm still gonna attack. I'm gonna force my opponent to do it. Because at one point I'm actually... Like, it'll get to a point where it's likely that I actually do draw the Source of Pleasures. And when that happens, then I'm gonna be fine. Actually, if I drew Source of Pleasures, I may just plow my own elephant token, to be honest, at this point in the game. Tormod's Crypt. This is a card that you should not bring in against Oath decks. Not this kind of Oath deck, at least. Like, my opponent cracks his Tormod's Crypt, I still have a 5/5 Terravor. It's definitely not worth playing. We could just Cataclysm here. If we Cataclysm, we blow up a land. A dude... Leave my opponent with one card in hand plus whatever they draw for turn. That means no answer for Oath. And then that sets me up to play Terravor next turn. So let's cast this Cataclysm. Keep Oath, Mox, Elephant, and Treva's Ruins. My opponent has Wasteland, that's kind of good for me. So they let the Whipcorder go. Interesting. Okay. Let's start the turn by swinging with Elephant. There goes that. Cast Terravor. Feel free to trigger my Oath of Druids. Nice Tormod's Crypt. Even if they get Exalted Angel, that Exalted Angel is going to be chump blocking. They crack Tormod's Crypt right now. Sure. So I have a 5/5 instead of a 14/14. Going to be a 8/8 next turn. There we go. Alright, got there. GG's opponent. Round number 2 against Laninini. I'm going to keep this hand. I guess I go turn 1 Mox, pitching Wasteland. A Darker Wastes pass. We get to Mana Leak. Anything worth Mana Leaking. Or play an Oath of Druids. Without knowing what Lani's up to, I don't think I want to lead on Oath. He moves to... We definitely don't want to see a Wasteland though. This is not a common start. Mox time and a Darker Wastes go. But let's see how Lani adapts. Treetop Village. Play a Treetop Village. Say go. Oh, this deck. Well, here goes nothing. Just playing Stompy. Stompy's all the rage these days. He has this turn to naturalize, or that's gonna be it. Because then I'm gonna be holding Mana Leak. So he better have it right now. Best thing he can do is fire off the treetop. Oh well, that's game then. Plow the treetop. Trigger Oath. I would like to trigger, please. Thank you. Only a 5/5. Pretty unlucky if you asked me. Also didn't mill anything of value. Could have swung with Treetop Village, but I don't know. Maybe he has an answer to Oath. Notably, this has Highland Walk, so I may need to be actually careful about what I do with that. Curse Scroll. With 5 cards in hand and only 2 lands. Gonna swing for 5. Regions, so take 5. Pass the turn. Am I countering this? I think I am. So now Treetop can start serving. Sure. So we're gonna get an attack for 9. Or I can just play a second Terravor. I could also Cataclysm. Cataclysm grows my Terravor for 4. Yeah, I think I'll do that. We're gonna keep the Treetop, Oath, and Mock. This only blows up a land, but that sounds kind of good to me. My main interest is to grow this boy. And now any land off the top allows me to cast the second one. He can't get through my Terravore. He also cannot, like if I manage to land the second Terravore, then he can't really trigger Oath because that grows my Terravore to past lethal. So I just need to draw land because he can't attack and he cannot get through either. So now we're just going to play a little bit of a waiting game here until later of us finds another land. There we go. So now we swing with one. Oh, this is a mistake actually. I should have played the second Mox to grow this one more. Now that I didn't do that, I think I just cast another one. He can trigger Oath if he wants to. He concedes. Alright. Against 14 land Stompy. What even matters in this matchup? I have no idea. Soren Orb? Potentially better than Mana Leak. Ray of Revelation only answers Rancor. So at that point, is it better to just have a null? I think I want a null over Leak. Probably want another Cataclysm. So my opponent's basically playing Boggles, right? So they're gonna try to go all in on one creature. Maybe Aura of Silence to make Rancor more expensive. Not sure if this is a Call of the Herd matchup. I doubt that it is. Nah, this seems fine. Aura of Silence is certainly interesting. Okay, what do we got here? Double Wasteland, Source to Plowshares. This has to be good enough, right? Premodern Ranger. I think we kill that because that unlocks his mana. So now they have to naturally draw another land. Rogue Elephant. Suit it up. Can we find another one? Please? That's a clock. Damn. Well, 2-turn clock. Gonna fetch for a white source. That's actually a 3-turn clock. Did the math wrong. What to do here? So Cataclysm doesn't really do anything, so I need to just draw. Like, it doesn't really matter. My goal. So we're dead to Bounty of the Hunt here. Did not. Oh, 1 turn too late. Okay. Guess I fired that Source of Plowshares off a little bit too quickly. On to game 3. Naturalize. I guess on the draw I don't really want it. Same with Aura of Silence. Now we can actually have Mana Leaks on the play. Sounds better, but by too much. Maybe Deep Analysis. It's not where I want to be. Guess I'd rather have another Mana Leak now that I'm on the play. Okay. Sounds like an okay draw. Let's keep this. Just gonna go treetop go. Because I don't think there's anything I'm interested in Mana Leaking on turn 1. Kind of awkward that I don't have any other blue source though. So I guess I go Mox Plains. No, I have to go treetop. It sucks if my opponent goes for Aquarian Ranger again on turn 1. Goes to 6. But I think the treetop is going to be kind of awkward on the mana regardless. Fiendhorn Elves. That's a really bad draw actually. That's a super bad draw. I really wanted to not have to pitch. I wanted to pitch the Plains instead of the Treva's Ruin to the Mox Diamond. I don't know, maybe I should have anyway. Land Grant. I think I Mana Leak that. I feel like I'm kind of in a situation where I have to Mana Leak anything there. If this was a bluff, it was a good bluff. Oh, there you go. He had 2. It was a bluff. So there's a Furnace. And he has the Naturalize. It's a really big problem. And this is why Tormod's Crypt is so much worse than Phyrexian Furnace. Like now, even if I Cataclysm, or if I had Armageddon, we'll be in the same situation where I can't really make sure that my Terravore stays afloat, right? Lanny can start working on my graveyard first, and then afterwards they start working on their own. Whereas Tormod's Crypt works on one or the other. You cannot work on both graveyards. Clism now. Keep Treetop Mox. He naturalizes this, and he keeps Fiendhorn Elves. The problem is I don't think that Lanny is gonna overextend into a Cataclysm. He's just not gonna do that, so I don't know how much better this gets for me. He should definitely naturalize main phase. Ooh, he overextended. That's a mistake. I do not think he should have done that. He's keeping the River Boa. That is super interesting, actually. Wow. Oh, he had second Fiendhorn. I can make a 1/1 Terravore here. I think I have to land it while I can. I guess he's saving the Naturalize specifically for Oath of Druids, which is pretty smart. So I'm playing out the Terravore there because he can't, like, it's gonna take him at least 1, 2, 3, 4 turns. Never mind. That's literally the best thing you could have here. That's brutal. So that actually kills the Terravore right now while drawing him a card. Absolutely devastating. So now we're not winning the race anymore. Call of the Herd is a pretty decent draw, just because it gives me a little bit of leeway. He eats the Terravore and the Call of the Herd, man. Lanny is smart. I think that's a good play. So now we're going to take 4, send the turn back. We still know that he has Naturalize in hand, so Mana Leak. So he was just going to pass the turn. I'm just going to block Ray the Naturalize, which is a really bad play, but now I'm in a situation where I need to draw land and I have to have Lanny not draw land. Alternatively, I could just take 4 down to 3. And I Ray on end step. This is so bad. This Ray would have been so much better as a naturalize or an aura, which is where I ended up cutting. Even a null, to be honest. That is not great. Naturalizes on my end step. The problem with this is that this means that he has another naturalize, but I still cannot protect from 2 naturalizes. So here I'm in a damned if I do, damned if I don't situation. Tormal script. Actually reasonable here. Of course, Phyrex Infernus would have been much better. It's just funny that it actually worked out for him. So this is actually lethal right now. No, Lenny, just... Oh, when did he play this out? I honestly do not even remember that was there. But yeah, I'm dead now. Man, Stompy. Stompy's real. Here we go into our 3rd match. This hand looks reasonable. Question is going to be whether I want to play Heath on 1 or Treetop on 1. Opponent playing 61 cards, which is interesting. Let's go with Heath, actually. This allows me to plow on 1 if I need to, and then hold up Mana Leak next turn. Otherwise, my curve is going to be super awkward. Their own Treetop. Here's a Gemstone Mine and pass the turn. Wasteland. Really? That's super aggressive. I'm just going to cycle AK here. Don't like Gemstone Mine at all. I hate that card. So play Treetop, play Mox, pitch, Windswept Heath, pass the turn. Maybe I should have played around 2nd Wasteland. Maybe. Okay, Mox Timer resolves. Guess we're playing a Pseudo Mirror. I think I leak this so that I can then trade my Source to Plowshares for something else. We do know now that we are indeed playing the mirror. We ship it back. Plow. I could fetch to gain 1 more life, but I don't know whether I want to fetch for a forest or a plains there. So I'm just gonna chill. Nice draw. Very nice draw. So now that I know what I got, I'm just gonna fetch for a forest here. Very nice draw there. Kind of one of the best possible, literal best possible draws. Parallax Tide. Interesting. Oh, so this is Terra. This is actually Hoath. This is not what I thought it was. Never mind. So I think I'm gonna take it here. I could plow this Treetop, but actually let's plow it. Like my opponent can save it with Tithe, but that's 1 less time walk that they have. Like I get my lands back earlier, so I think that's a reasonable thing to do there. AK, let's say draw 2. Opponent's gonna be able to replenish Attunement. They're gonna have to find the replenish, and now it's not even gonna be good enough. I am liking my spot here, unless they have Stifle, which they don't. So I can Mana Leak a replenish, or I can just draw 2 with AK. See what my opponent discards. 2 waves and Oath. Now that I know what my opponent's doing, I regret, yeah, that's fine. I regret having counter the Terravore. Attunement. Yeah, that resolves. So let's cast another AK, draw 2, untap. Second Mana Leak probably locks this game up. We Cataclysm, leave my opponent with only 2 mana. I don't think they can come back from that, because they can't have enough mana to replenish at that point. And I get to continue hitting land drops because I drew like 5 more cards than they did. They can't get both lands and spells from the Attunement, right? They're not accruing card advantage. They're only getting velocity. I wish I had a non-Treva's Ruins land. That is a little bit awkward here because I want a flashback Deep Analysis, but I'm going to be going to discard if I do. Okay, now they have the Opalescence and they discarded the Attunement. So now we just have to hold these Mana Leaks and we will win eventually. Flashback Deep Analysis, play this. Awkward that we're going to have to bounce the Treetop Village, but it's fine. Discard both. Discard Cataclysm. Yeah, opponent's got 4 lands. Last card is Replenish. We just leak it, but it's not getting better for them, right? So that's why they're just going for it. Now they have no cards in hand. Play the Treetop. So this turn, if I play the Adarkar Waste, I get 2 AK plus Mana Leak, but I'm very interested in just putting this Terravore in play. Yes, exactly. So never mind. There's the other Mana Leak. And I don't know if they have any more than 2 replenishes. That's literally the best possible top deck for them, but we had it covered. Wasteland, we can't Wasteland him. So I guess I just go... I mean, I still play the Wasteland. Rin, send the turn back. They need to like have runner replenish here. Oh man, that's I didn't even know that this deck played 4 replenishes, but there you go. So now they have Opal Wave, so I'm dead. Yeah, I mean, it's the only card that does anything at all at that point. They wave their own oath, do not give me a trigger. That's hilarious. Alright, so that happened. So now we get to bring in Melee Mages, cut these Oath of Druids, which are quite awkward. Bring in Ray, bring in Aura, bring in the Furnaces, cut the Source to Plowshares. Oh, annul. Definitely want annul. Oh, Cross and Reclamation is actually great. This is graveyard hate. What else? Oboin also has 2 Terravores. I have 4. So that's why I don't want to be using Source of Plowshares, which is the dead card otherwise. They could have Exalted Angel post board actually. So maybe that's a reason to leave a couple of swords in. Definitely interesting. I think I want to cut him ox. The game's going to go very long. And maybe an intuition. I think that's fine. Man, I can't believe my opponent just drew back-to-back replenishes. It's kind of insane, honestly. Keep this. I think I go turn 1 treetop. Because I don't know yet what I want to name with this meddling mage. But this hand looks clean. I like it. Basic forest. Play land. Pass the turn. Oath. Do I care? I don't think I care. I can obviously make my meddling mage awkward, but I just don't cast the meddling mage and I start slowly swinging with treetops instead. So I think this is okay. Let's get a basic plains in there. And here's Phyrex Infernus. Surprised that they left the Oath in. They saw that I have Oath. Kind of feel like I'm a better Oath deck than my opponent. Also, I will eventually just find Ray of Revelation or something. Sure. Treetop Village down. Annul. It's a nice one. Maybe I should be activating Furnace targeting my opponent, actually. Because it's better against their combo. That's a fine pickup. I like that. So that's going to be a draw 4. Seal of Cleansing. Resolves. Fetch. Go to Plains. Think I Intuition now? I could do Ray of Revelation, Crossrun Reclamation, or Ray Deep Analysis. Is that better? I think that may be better. Yeah, let's do Ray. Oh, let's do Ray Crossrun Rec. Beans both rays, which makes a lot of sense. Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna cycle, draw an aura. It's not bad. Man, this is so bad. I don't want to play the Ray because this is going to enable my... Actually, that may be just fine. No, because that actually takes my green mana. It costs me my green mana. Man, I hate this card so much, man. I despise Gemstone Mine with a passion. So I just pass the turn? Go to discard? No, that's so bad. I can go Meddling Mage, Ray. I guess that's the best line. Also a terrible line. I don't like this line at all. We're gonna name Parallax Wave or Tithe? Tithe, maybe? Oh, my opponent doesn't have double blue. Let's name Wave. Maybe I should be naming Source of Plowshares. And I'm wastelanding there because I don't want my opponent to be able to double spell. Right now, the main thing that I have going for me is that my mana is as awkward as my opponent's. So I want to try to push that. I really need to start drawing lands here. This sucks. I was just going to have the same play here. Ray. And I guess I'm going to name Parallax. I'm going to name Replenish now. And I'm going to hope that this works. Oh, I forgot to play my land. That was very much a mistake. I meant to play my land and wasteland my opponent's brushland. Maybe not wasteland, actually. Maybe we don't need to wasteland here. No, we definitely needed to wasteland here. We definitely needed to wasteland. I'm going to lose because of that. Because I could have... If I had wasteland, I can untap and potentially find the green source to cross and wreck both Oath back to the deck. I lost this game because of Gemstone Mine. On the plus side, now I get my opponent's Oath trigger. So unless this is a lethal attacker, unless the Terravore is actually lethal, then I get to just chomp block and then go from there. Oh, they literally just flipped one Terravore and nothing else. It was a top card in their deck. Yeah, I can actually maybe play through this. Guess I pass. Man, really? Still no land? I really need to find the land here. Okay, it's not a great land to draw, but at least it gives me Crossrun Reclamation protection. Let's discard Cataclysm. I could have discarded Crossrun Reclamation, but I feel like I may need to cast this more than once. My opponent can't really attack here. They are attacking. I'll block. And then now I need to make a stop in damage step, or I guess end of combat, so that I take only 3. And now before my opponent has access to double blue, I can wasteland the Yamimaya Coast. This is to prevent Parallax Tide, of course. Parallax Wave. They're gonna wave their own Terravore? Is that the plan here? I guess the plan is to... I'm gonna have to fetch first, because I cannot mill both of my forests. Also, I need to find the Terravore here. But I think my opponent's just gonna... Yeah, this is awkward. Replenish doesn't matter anymore, so it's gonna be Parallax Wave. This game has been all sorts of awkward. Let's play Treva's Ruins. I think I have to Aura Silence before I do anything else. Got a little bit lucky there. My opponent could have forced the action by waving their own Terravore so that they have one more trigger, which is kind of cute. I need to flip an angel. I need to flip my own Terravore here though. Exile target creature. Totally fine. So this is what, 11? 10 down to 7. So now I get another Oath trigger and I need to flip a Terravore. Like I just need to catch a break here. Okay, cool. At least we got there. Okay, no more Terravores in the deck, I guess. Yep, here's another one. So I'm just hard casting all my boys. So what I have to do now is wait. Opponent has to trigger Oath. Then 22-22. Let's see if they have their own Crows and Wreck. I'm assuming they do. Yeah, it's right there. Okay, so they have Replenish, 2 Replenish, 3 Replenish. 1 Opalescence, 1 Karmic Justice. Interesting. So now I wait for my opponent to declare attackers. I pop the Parallax Wave in combat. I guess my opponent could have the 4th replenish here. So all replenishes are in the graveyard. So we know my opponent's cards in hand are not replenishes. Orim's Chant. Is this an Armageddon? 5 mana, Parallax Wave. We're gonna annul that one. One of my opponent's cards in hand is gonna be what? Forest and Unknown. Man, this game turned out super exciting. What is this gonna be? I think they're flashing back Corrosion Reclamation. Yeah, they are. Shuffling 2 replenishes. So 2 of the 5 cards in my opponent's deck are replenish. All of my opponent's Source of Blushers are in their graveyard. So if they attack, what I'm forced to do is to blow up the Parallax Wave right now. My opponent should target their own Terravor to blink it. I guess it doesn't matter because I'm going to attack to force the chump. I can't believe I'm going to actually turn this game around. At least that's what it feels like. So now creatures come back. We're going to name Replenish. We're going to swing with both Terravors. Actually, I can swing with the Meddling Mage as well because it's a free attack. My opponent's forced to chump both Terravors, or to trade both Terravors. So now Oath is doing nothing. We trade, and now we Cataclysm. On second main phase, we're going to keep Meddling Mage, Treva's Ruins. My opponent's going to keep an Oath, and I guess they should also keep Treva's Ruins. Maybe they're going to choose not to keep any of the Oaths. Now we play another land, and we pass the turn. Unless they have another Terravor in their deck, which maybe they do. They don't. Okay, cool. So now hopefully they draw one of those replenishes, because they're dead cards. Wow, we have actually turned this game around. That's pretty insane. Naturalize is actually a decent draw to have access to. And now my opponent's decking. Wow. Wow, what a game. So we know they have Source of Plowshares, Replenish, Sacred Ground. Odium's Chant is definitely one to be aware of. So is Karmic Justice. Man, what an insane game. Anything they want to change? Maybe a 4th Cataclysm, but I don't think I ever want to cast more than one of these. So I think this is fine. Maybe the Source of Plowshares aren't worth it. Okay, I like this. Oops, I misclicked Mulligan. That sucks. Probably gonna keep this one anyway, but definitely meant to keep that first hand. And I hope that I don't get too punished for that. I don't think I want to open myself up to anything. I think I'm just chilling here. Man, that first hand would be so much better than this. Sure, I'm gonna Wasteland here. Treetop actually seems like one of the highest value Wasteland targets, because without Treetop, my opponent's plan with Oath is much worse, I think. Both hitting land drops, mana leak, decent draw, fetch, 4 mana Opalescence. Yeah, that's fine. Doesn't actually do anything. Oh, I should have actually played the Mox there. Oh, it doesn't matter. We're gonna do fetch both of my fetchables, and I'll just cast Deep Analysis, target myself, send the turn back. Funny that if my opponent plays an Oath, I get an Oath trigger, which is pretty hilarious. That's a wave, but it's no big deal because I have Array, so it's fine. Doesn't matter whatsoever. Trying to think how I'm going to do this. I think I Array first, then play Treetop. Well, I guess I don't want to expose myself to Wasteland, so let's play Treva's Ruins actually. Bounce here. We're gonna play Phyrexian Furnace. And I could play out a Mox, but I don't think I do. I don't want to expose the Mox to a removal spell. With my opponent passing the turn here, I think I'm quite comfortable with this situation. My opponent doesn't have many actual cards that threaten me here. Corrosion Reclamation, the Deep Analysis, and the Ray. Yeah, that's fine. Just let that resolve. Untap. Nice pickup, actually. Going to activate Furnace first. But my opponent is like super far away from casting a Tithe, so I don't really care. I just play a Plains and a Meddling Mage. Name Oath of Druids. Oh, I tapped wrong. Now my opponent can actually take me off a blue. That was a pretty bad mistake. I was thinking about that and then I didn't execute on it. Again, I don't think there's anything that is super problematic here. Orim's Chant. Okay. They can't cast Oath unless they use the wave. If they replenish, I just crack the Furnace. Terravor. Yeah, that's fine. Dies now. They know I have Corrosion Reclamation in hand, don't they? I think they just forgot. Blow up my land. Sure. It's a Wasteland I won't be using. I guess I just passed the turn. I have to be smart about this. Maybe I should have just main phase used Furnace there. So now I'm going to shuffle 2 lands. Corrosion Reclamation, shuffle Wasteland and Trevas. And I'm going to exile my Further Strand. Looks like this resolves. I'll take 2. It's totally fine. Call of the Herd. Does that matter? I guess it kind of does. And now what I can do is I can exile my own Flooded Strand. And now I go Crows and Wreck, the Call of the Herd, and the Wasteland. Terror dies, and I play out the Wasteland, and we can hold. Oh, maybe I should have played out the Hour of Silence there. I think we just chill now. The point is out of fading counters, so I guess even if this Opalescence comes into play, it still doesn't do anything. Let's untap. See what we draw. Another Mox is not where we want to be. We could cast Cataclysm. Does that do anything though? And a Furnace Opalescence, so that's gone. I guess I don't need to worry about Opal Wave any longer. It's Wasteland, Yavimaya Coast, cast an Aura of Silence. Maybe this is wrong, because my opponent hasn't played a single disenchant effect yet. Maybe they're just sandbagging a bunch of disenchants. So now there's fading. What I think I named Terravor with this. So Oath of Druids doesn't really matter in the face of the Aura of Silence. Blow up my treetop. You got it. Swords to Plowshares. Nothing. Do I Cataclysm here? I don't think I do. The problem is if my opponent does find the Terravor, a little bit of trouble there. So Cross and Wreck is gone. Yeah, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to Cataclysm here, which is not great value to be honest. So let's keep the Plains and these other two. I think my opponent's just gonna time out here though. Yeah, they just concede. I mean, I think I was winning that game. Yeah, well, I was definitely winning that game. In case we were wondering, yes, I was winning that game. But yeah, that was super interesting. It's pretty funny like how we were in a situation game one where I'm like, there's no way I lose this, and then my opponent just got run and replenishes and I lost, and then there's no way I win this in game two, and then I somehow found a way to get there. That was really exciting. Really cool match. Man, Premodern. God damn it, Premodern's so awesome. Alright folks, see you for the next round. The next round. Going into round number 4. This hand looks reasonable enough. This hand's gonna do stuff against most decks, I guess. I mean, Cataclysm does work against Enchantress, and I guess so does Ray of Revelation. So hopefully they have an Enchantress's presence instead of that. That one's not so good for us. Now the question is gonna be which one we blow up. Whether the Wild Growth or whether we blow up nothing. I feel like we're gonna have to blow something up here. I guess it's gonna be the Guile, just to limit my opponent's mana a little bit. That's an exploration. It's not great for us. Yavimaya Coast. Oh, they're playing combo Enchantress. Alright, that's kind of cool. They're gonna have 2 Enchantresses now. Okay. Opponent's down to 2 cards in hand. I think I'm gonna Wasteland, and I'm gonna flashback the Ray on the Wild Growth. And I'm gonna try to bottleneck them on mana. I don't know if that's gonna work when they're drawing 2 cards a turn, but I guess it's not working out. Maybe it's not working. Holistic Wisdom? What the hell? Return target from your river to the hand if it's seriously kind. Whoa, that is something. Can I draw a Mox? Really needed to draw a Mox there, I feel like. But it's okay. Let's play on this Cover the Paradise and then ship the turn back. So now we're gonna get an Oath trigger, which is nice. I guess Swords to Plowshares is technically not dead against my opponent. Fertile Ground. I'm not saying it's guaranteed that we're gonna be able to get out of this, but I don't think it's impossible. Hopefully this is another setup turn. My opponent plays another Enchantress and then pass the turn. Leaving Wish. I'm assuming this is gonna make it Monk Realist. I was not expecting that one. I mean, it honestly doesn't really matter, because I'm just gonna go for Cataclysm anyway. So I guess what they can do is they might as well seal off removal their own Monk. So maybe I was supposed to Swords to Plowshares the Monks there. But it was Undiscovered Paradise, so I guess no is the answer. So let's keep the Plains. My opponent should have definitely bounced their own Monk Realist there. Honestly, there's no reason not to. Not looking super great, but we're also not dead here. Like I can just draw another Oath of Druids. We actually have like a reasonable amount of cards that we can draw here. AK is not great. We are at this point we are falling behind. It's been a while since I've seen combo Enchantress. This deck has kind of fallen out of favor. Because, honestly, because the regular Enchantress is just so good. Frantic. They've been a couple of lands. They're up on cards by so much at this point. Kind of going off there. I wonder if they're playing Brain Freezes or something. So many frantic searches. Okay, so I guess that's a win condition. This is fine. Let's go to game 2. So we want an all. We don't want this Swords to Plowshares. Definitely want these Meddling Mages. Ray of Revelation, Cross on Reclamation, the other Cataclysm, and Aura of Silence. Don't think I want Oath, and I'm gonna cut a Call of the Herd. Kind of want to cut both of them, but I think Call is better than my other alternatives. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Let's be on the play this time around. This looks solid. Let's keep. Turn 1 land, say go. Kind of looking for a land here. Meddling Mage. I'm gonna name my Gothian Enchantress. I could have just passed the turn and Mana Leak there. That may be better, because if they have Enchantress's presence instead, I can Mana Leak it. Karmic Justice. Okay. That one doesn't really do anything. Oh, that's a Very good draw. Because this says destroys, and Cataclysm doesn't destroy, they sacrifice. This does represent the mana for Sanctum though. Words of Wind. Guess I mana leak that. Okay, so now we can swing, fetch, cast Terraborn, and hold up an all. Don't think I'm casting Clism here. I think I'm more interested in trying to establish a clock. If we need to cast the Cataclysm, we will. But I think that trying to kill them as quickly as possible is priority number one here. They're just passing the turn. Okay, Frozen Reclamation. I don't think that's doing too much for now. This is a three-turn clock though. Fertile Ground resolves. Revelation doesn't really do anything here, but that's fine. Yeah, just concede. And now we go to game number 3. This looks fine though. I don't think I want to change anything. Game 3 on the draw. Opponent mulligans to 6. Am I keeping this? I think I am. Obviously my best draw would be the Mox, but I like that this hand is fairly disruptive. If they have turn 2 Enchantress, they can very easily offset their mulligans. Alright, opponent did mulligan to 5, and they basically play their entire hand on turn 1. This is interesting. So I think I play Mox, and I pitch the Trevas, and then play a Darkar Waste, and send the turn. Nearest Guile sounds not so terrible for me. I have double mana leak. This does not actually give them card advantage, so I can take care of the first 2 Enchantress effects, and then go from there. Living Wish is going to resolve, so now they can get an Enchantress, Serra Sanctum. Okay, that's fine. So the only card in hand is this. I think I'm going to blow up the Guile now. This takes their mana, because the problem is if these are Enchantress on top, then my opponent can actually pay for my mana leak. So now it's the same situation, but now if it's Enchantress's presence, I now just can flashback Ray of Revelation and deal with this right now. So now we're cooking. I think I'm gonna spend this turn to Deep Analysis, because if the best thing they could do last turn was to play that, they also sandbag the Serra Sanctum, but I can blow up the Sanctum whenever I want. That's a good draw. That's a nice draw. So yeah, I'm gonna Wasteland the Coast and then cast Aura of Silence. Now we're slowly assembling the lock. Now they play out the Serra Sanctum. Wild Growth, 3 mana. Sounds good. Annul is a nice pickup, so let's draw 2. That is also a nice pickup. So now we Wasteland the Sanctum, and we have Annul up. Let's see what the last card in hand is. Fertile Ground. I think I'm actually going to annul this. I don't want my opponent to get ahead on mana. And now we're going to be able to just cast the Meddling Mage. We're going to name our Gothian Enchantress. They already cannot cast Enchantress's presence. I feel like we're pretty much in the clear here. Still holding up mana leak, so I'm gonna cycle an AK, another Wasteland. Yeah, this is looking good. So white and blue. Guess we're gonna name Seal of Removal now. They can't even cast Enchantress's presence, and it costs them 5 mana, so we can just mana leak it. Fertile Ground. Gonna mana leak that again. Just keep them locked under the Aura of Silence. We're gonna do the same thing again. What even matters right now? Can't cast Replenish. Am I just naming Powder Keg? If they go land Powder Keg, no, that doesn't even matter. It's gonna be too long. They're gonna be dead before they can actually crack the Powder Keg. So we're going to swing for 4 this turn down to 12, and then we're gonna go 6/6. So here we're gonna name Mirror's Guile, I guess. Maybe Replenish. I don't even know if my opponent's playing Replenish, but Replenish doesn't matter because I have Cross on Reclamation. Swing for 6, and I guess I might as well Wasteland the Amimaya Coast to make sure my mana leak is online. There we go. We are 3-1. This deck is looking pretty good. I'm into it. I also just realized that I took out the image on the side. Sorry about that. Anyway, see you in the next round. Okay, we are on the play here. This hand really wants this Oath to be good. Am I just risking it? I think I am. Obviously, if my opponent's playing like Replenish or something, I basically just lose on the spot, but red, Goblin Lackey. Well, we may be okay. Fetch, Forest, here's a fetch, Plains, here's an Oath. Please don't have Naturalize. We also drew a land, which obviously is not great. We did get lucky though. I did keep the hand that we ended up playing against the deck that Oath is actually good against. Now it's a matter of whether they have the land into Naturalize or they don't. We'll find out soon enough. Siege Gang. Okay, that's a Pile Driver. We're gonna trigger Oath of Druids. Say yes. Only a 3/3 Terravore. So unlucky. It's kind of insane how unlucky that is. I'm literally gonna play the Mox just to grow the Terravore a little bit more. So if they attack with everything, I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have to block the Lackey, in which case I take 16. I go down to 1, die to Mock Fanatic. So I guess I have to chomp the Pile Driver. There's also the fact that they can just have Gem Palm Incinerator and I lose on the spot. So That's also not great. Guess I should have just YOLO the Oath on turn 1. I'm thinking if I want to play a land because of Cataclysm. I think I'm going to play the second Mog, just the second Mox. I'm not going to play the land, but I'm going to play out this... No, actually I am going to play the land because it doesn't matter. So let's pass the turn. But making this a 5/5 is actually relevant because if my opponent finds his Prospector, they can just kill my dude right now. So if they have War Chief, I'm going to have to mana leak that. Also, they got a mountain instead of a forest, which is interesting. We can turn this around here though. Prospector. Yeah, I'm gonna mana leak this, because if this Prospector resolves, then now my opponent can cycle Gem Palm. I mean, they probably don't have it, because they would have already played it there. But Prospector starts to make things a little bit awkward for us, so here we just have to trade, I guess. Well, actually, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So it is a forced block. It's a forced trade here, just so I can keep playing. That's how the math works out. Let's see what Lackey brings to the party. Another Lackey. That's kind of fine. That means that my opponent doesn't have any more gas in the tank. Now we're gonna get another Oath trigger. We may be able to get out of this actually. We also have certain draws that just lock the game up. Like if we draw Cataclysm, we just win. Lackey number 3 and Mog Fanatic. Maybe we can find Call of the Herd. That would be nice. We did find Call of the Herd. We also found Deep Analysis, which we're probably not going to be using. Okay. Flashback Call. Would love to have access to Swords to Plowshares there, but unfortunately that's not the case. So they attack with everything. I block Siege Gang and I block the Fanatic, and I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think we're clear. Mana leak on the Prospector was a very big deal. We really needed to mail that Call of the Herd for sure. Otherwise, we're gonna get potentially killed. Opponent goes to combat. Let's see what they got. Send everybody. So we're gonna block Lackey and block Fanatic. So we're gonna take 5 here. Opponent pings. Makes sense. And they didn't War Chief. Huh. They didn't sack the Lackey. Very interesting. Alright. We're gonna trigger Oath again. Say yes. Can we get lucky? No. Very unlucky actually. Super unlucky. So now we're just dead to the Siege Gang. We really needed for our Terravore to get Humongous to force chump by both creatures, by both the War Chief and the other one. I guess even with that, I mean, I guess technically we had 2 blockers. Swords to Plowshares would have also been able to win here. Cataclysm would be able to win, but yeah, that's not enough. Might as well play another Oath and pass the turn. Really needed this Terravore to be at towards the bottom of my deck there. But now we're just dead on board. And the problem is I can't force my opponent into making a mistake. Like, they don't need to do anything. Like, I can't even bluff Swords to Plowshares because it just doesn't get better for my opponent. Like, this is just how it is. They're forced into making the play. Let's go to sideboarding. Let's bring in definitely another Cataclysm. I do like Call of the Herd. I think mana leaks are horrendous. So is Ray and so is Naturalize. I don't like Deep Analysis either. And now we have to bring in Suran Orbs. 3 seems like many more than I want to have access to. I kind of want to just have 2. And I guess 2 mana leaks because we're on the play. Maybe on the draw we switch those around. Not excited about this sideboarding, to be honest. I do have in my deck some cards that I wish were not there. On the play second game, this looks pretty good. It's a fine draw. So we can go turn 1, play Strand. We can plow a Lackey, AK on 2. Turn 1, Lucky on 7. Both games. Opponent really knows how to play Goblins. Another Heath. Can play a 4/4 Terravore on turn 3. I think I'm going to do that, actually. Slightly awkward, but I think that being able to play a 4/4 on turn 3 is quite nice. So let's get a Forest and another Forest. And here's a 4/4. Opponent cycles Gem Palm on 2. Yeah, this is looking good for me. If that's the best thing they can do on turn 3. On turn 2, oh, they have no lands. Yeah, that's very bad for them. Yeah, this game's looking good for us. We found another plow. We're really cooking here. Prospector, you got it. I don't think I even killed this. Ooh, nice. Swing for 4. Play another Vor. And this game is basically over. So my opponent had a hand that really relied on this Lucky, making it past turn 1. Yep, looks like they did. Okay, so now we're on the draw. My question is Meddling Mage better than Mana Leak? I don't think it is, because it makes my oaths worse. So I guess we're just gonna submit this again. Game number 3, and opponent moves to 6. So this hand has an oath on turn 3. Is that good enough? My opponent is clearly mulliganing for Lackey, so I guess I should mulligan for an answer to Lackey. This is a reasonable hand, actually, but I think I'm gonna ship it. This is much better. So what do we bottom? The Suran Orb or the Mana Leak? I guess the Suran Orb. Opponent goes to 5, and they keep 5. Let's see what they got. Let's plow. It's likely awkward that we're gonna have to like play Trevas in order to cast the Oath. We have Rishat import there. So playing Trevas here, even in the face of the Rishat import, is much better. At least drawing the Oath there is huge. Matron. I think we're looking pretty good here. This mana leak is gonna end up being pretty great. Definitely happy that I kept this over the third Surinor. Alright, Oath. This time around, and you hook me up. So far, my Oath triggers have been lackluster, to say the least. This is such an interesting position. Like, what do you get? Like, it's not like my opponent can find Elvish Spirit, Elvish Visionary or something. I meant Elvish Lyrist. Goblin Lyrist. That would be cool. They ended up going with Ringleader, which makes sense. This mana leak's gonna work over time here. Would definitely like trigger Oath of Druids 6/6. Not half bad. All my Source to Plowshares are gone, by the way. Also didn't mill a single AK, so unlucky. Gonna mana leak this. And if my opponent attacks with both, I'm not going to... My opponent should have definitely attacked with both, because I was not gonna block. They just missed out on 4 damage. Like, it's very important there for me to get a second trigger. Okay, that was actually pretty good. Yeah, my opponent concedes. 2 17/17s were a little bit too much for my opponent. But there you go. 4-1. I think we ended up 2-1 every single game that we played so far. See you for the last one. So last round, first time that Trevas Druin actually is hitting me here. But this hand, it feels a little bit too good to pass up on. We do really struggle if my opponent's playing Goblins. But if they're not on Goblins, then I'm kind of okay in my situation. We can low-key draw 7 here. Oh, don't do it. Can we draw Swords to Plowshares or Oath and be rewarded? Swords to Plowshares, Oath of Druids? No, it's not it. Do I just concede here so my opponent does not know where I'm up against? I think I'm gonna concede just to hide information. And we're just going to do the same thing that we did earlier. Bring in the extra Cataclysm, cut the Deep Analysis, cut the Ray, cut the Naturalize, and cut 1 mana leak. That is definitely like an early concession, but I literally don't think that I can win from there. So I might as well hide the information and go into the next match. No, this is not good enough. This is better. I think I keep this, but the mana leak. We're gonna go turn 1 Treetop. Hopefully we find an answer to Lucky. But even if my opponent has the Lucky, now this time around I actually have the Call of the Herd on 3, so we have a little bit of a game to play. Unless they have a Lucky into port, that 1-2 punch would get me. Obviously I can just draw Swords to Plowshares or an Oath, and then I'm gonna be in much better position, but or that's really good draw. Really good draw. So let's get a Plains, and we're actually gonna cast Call of the Herd, because a 3/3 obviously is better than a 2/2 right here. Opponent does nothing with their turn. Very interesting. Am I playing a Terror War? I think I am. Even though it's just a 2/2. I'm not going to attack with the Elephant though. I'm just going to pass. Opponent does nothing. There's the War Chief. Oh, Matron. You're going to go for Gem Palm? They are going for Gem Palm. We're still holding the fort, so super concerned so far. That's very nice. So we're just going to pass the turn here. And I can now Intuition for triple land. I like that quite a bit. Wasteland? I mean, you can't Wasteland before you Gem Palm, my friend. So now my dude is a 4/4? I don't think my opponent thought about this. Really feels like this one came as a surprise to them. We're gonna wait for them to pass priority. And then I'll Intuition for a land. Play Matron, number 2. Am I just getting 3 fetches? I think I may just get 3 fetches here. Well, actually, let's get Strand, and another blue source. Because you have a Maya Coast? They're gonna give me the Maya Coast, I assume. But I don't want them to give me the Windswept Heath, and I don't have blue land for this. Maybe it's still worth it. Oh, they gave me a Strand? Oh, great. That's kind of exactly what I wanted. So now, can I... Oh, that's a really good draw. I think what we do now is we just get the island. And I'm just going to swing for 7. And I can start to get this game over with. I think we swing for both. Opponent takes 10. And now if they cycle, we play in response. Maybe they can do something like play a 1-drop, then it's a War Chief. You got it. They can't really swing Pile Driver. Prospector. Prospector's fine. Let's see what they attack with. You'll probably not be attacking with the Matrons. Plow the Lackey. We're going to take 5. Stir a card. Might as well. It's a land. That means we can flashback. I mean, we have lethal if we draw a fetch land. Okay, opponent just concedes. I mean, that was not lethal though. Let's go to Cyborging. I think this is fine. This is the same thing that I did the previous match. I don't think it's great again. I feel like there's probably some more tinkering to do with the sideboard here, of course, but it is what it is. Intuition for 3 lands to grow Terror War is just too sexy, man. That's just too sexy. Couldn't resist. Maybe there was a better line there. I don't know, and I don't care. This we're gonna ship. 1 and kept 7. What do we have here? Yeah, it doesn't seem good enough. Let's go to 5. Let's go to 4. Man, all of these hands suck. Let's go to 3. Turn 1 Oath. Turn 2 Oath. I'm gonna keep this one. Bottom that. Bottom that. Bottom that. Bottom that. We're all in on Oath of Druids. I could have kept the Mox. So what keeping the Mox does is it means that any land that I find off the top can get me there. But here I can potentially draw Swords to Plowshares, I guess. It's turn 1 Oath versus the potential of... the potential of turn 1 Oath versus the potential of finding a Swords to Plowshares and actually being able to win this game. Swords? Ugh. Okay, here's a Flooded Strand. I think if my opponent has an average Goblins draw, this is not going to be good enough, unfortunately. At least they have Wasteland and not Port. Notably, we're playing around Port here anyway, but Port will be so much more annoying than Wasteland. Now here I was going to get 2 clean Lackey attacks before I even get to trigger this Oath of Druids. If they don't have the disenchant, of course. And now even if I draw Swords to Plowshares, I'm not going to have a window to actually cast it, so we're in pretty bad shape. We're just going to need to get very lucky here. So let's get a Plains, let's get a Forest, and here's an Oath. I also am going to need some good flips from this Oath of Druids, by the way. Pile Driver basically means I'm dead. Matron also kind of means I'm dead. Obviously Naturalize means that I'm dead, because I went all in on this Oath of Druids and my opponent just fetched for a basic forest, so I would be surprised if they don't have a Naturalize. Lucky hits, and it brings out a Goblin King. They wait all the way to my end step before they they Naturalize. Sure. There you go. Mox Diamond, pitch, Yavimaya Coast. So I might as well do this main phase. There's no reason to do that, but also no reason not to do that. Okay, so here I'm taking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if I find any land of the top, and my opponent does not have Bad Boy, we may actually be able to do something here. Oh, they have Naturalize as the last card. Okay, there we go. That's it. Yeah, too late for that one. 4 and 2, unfortunately. We're not able to get there, but that was a lot of fun. I like this deck. And there you go, folks. This actually worked out fairly well. I'm not particularly disappointed by the deck. I think it worked out quite well. I liked many aspects. I think Intuition was actually surprisingly fantastic. Like, I was expecting it to be like, yeah, I build the deck around this card and it's kind of like my pet card, so I'm just trying to force it a little bit. But it ended up being super versatile. I was able to Intuition for accumulated knowledge. I was able to Intuition for like Call of the Herds and stuff. I think my favorite was when I Intuition for double Ray and Deep Analysis. Oh no, it was 2 Rays and 1 Corrosive Reclamation. That was pretty sexy. I don't know if this is a 4 Mox Diamond deck. That is one of the things that came up. It feels like we need the 4 Mox Diamonds, but because we are using AK instead of Library, which is the card that other decks of this kind usually use for card advantage, we get to draw more cards, but we found ourselves in situations where we drew more cards, but those cards were lands, so we weren't really making that much progress. So maybe we can do 3 Moxen and do, I don't know, like some other card instead, maybe like another copy of Call of the Herd, I don't know. But that's one of the things that I was considering. I really wanted to make room for Rishadan Port, for example. Obviously, like, this is here mainly for fixing purposes, and it did a really good job at doing that. But multiple times I found myself with hands that had 2 Mox Diamond, and the second copy was just brutal. It was just so bad for so many reasons. I just did not have enough lands to cast it at all, or I also had like a Cataclysm, and I was in a situation where I was kind of forced to like just destroy one of my own Moxen. When you have a library going, you will basically only draw your Mox Diamond, then you play your library, and then you never draw a second Mox, which is, in my opinion, is a very strong interaction, and it's a very good reason to want to play the full 4 copies of Moxen when you have 4 libraries. But with a deck like this, which is just, there's no card selection whatsoever, then that becomes a little bit tougher. I don't know, it's something that I would want to think about. I do think Intuition for AK was strong, but not as strong as I envisioned for the reason that I just explained. Obviously, if you cannot play just 3 AK, you just have to play 4, otherwise it just doesn't make sense to play the card at all. So that is a question, like, maybe I'm supposed to just play 3 libraries and just not play AK in this slot. When you do that though, then your mana leaks become worse, and then it's like there's more consequences to that. But AK did draw a healthy amount of cards. Like, oftentimes I found myself in situations where I was just like, especially I think it was against the white Weenie deck, but I was just ahead by so many cards that my opponent was just trying to do stuff and it just didn't matter. So there are going to be certain decks where that kind of approach is going to work really, really well, particularly against control decks and whatnot. Then having access to AK and like deep analysis and stuff is gonna be quite strong. So besides that, I really like the Meddling Mage Cyberplan. This card really overperformed in the matches that I played, and I feel like it's the only reason why we beat the combo decks that we faced. We lost against Stompy and Goblins, which are aggro decks, but they're the kind of aggro decks where they have answers to Oath. And as we saw in that very last game, my opponent answered my Oath, and that was it. That was just the game. When you're relying too much on Oath, and Oath in this deck, as opposed to previous versions that had like Shard Phoenix and Ancestor's Chosen, like those cards actually catch you up when you're really, really behind. Here, Oath just gives you a big beefy Terravore, which sometimes is going to be good enough, but when your opponent's going so wide with Goblins, it's just not going to be enough most of the time. So that's one of the things that I will need to be thinking about, because here we only have 4 answers to turn 1 Lucky, and my opponents had lots of turn 1 Luckies in the matches. The 2 matches that I played against Goblins, I think I had turn 1 Lucky in every single match, in every single game. So when you're playing against opponents that are playing Goblins properly by drawing their Lucky and playing on turn 1 every single time, then only 4 Swords to Plowshares may not be enough to stop that. And we saw that in the very last game where I was able to play the Oath, but it was just too late because I was too far behind by that point. Yeah, lots to think about this deck. I think I do like the idea. I think I'm gonna continue to explore it. There are certain cards that I think can be exploited, like Cataclysm. I think it's looking quite good right now, with Enchantress becoming one of the top dogs and stuff like that. I think Cataclysm is particularly strong against Enchantress. And you know, we get to cast Ray of Revelation and Annul and a bunch of stuff. So blue, white, green color combination, I think it's quite strong right now. So I think that there's a lot of exploring to do in this axis, but that's going to be it for me today, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button on the way out, and I'll see you in the next video, hopefully soon. Love you forever, and take care. Bye bye.